Good morning, everybody. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Jordan.
And we're Daniel and Jordan. Welcome back to the greatest show on the internet, the greatest one you've tuned into all week, and the greatest one that you'll possibly ever see. Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
I'm good for the second time today. I started my day off right. I started it off with a little bit of motivation.
Motivation on what? What's got you motivated?
E.T. And when I say E.T., I don't mean the little red
phone
the little red man finger, which is an ugly character, by the way. Whoever designed that thing, what is he?
Reminds me of my brother.
What is? I can see it.
Can I put a little picture of John right up here?
What is E.T. anyway?
Extraterrestrial is an alien.
Okay, so he was supposed to be an alien.
Yeah, I don't actually remember. I think I might have seen it as a child. I don't remember the story, but yeah, he was an alien.
Yeah, it was a weird movie. It was kind of creepy. Like scary a little bit. Kind of like the little Furby creatures. What was that one?
Yeah. Are you talking about Gremlins?
Yeah, Gremlins was creepy too.
Gremlins was good.
I was checking all the doors after that movie. Like every closet, it was like, check all the dark spaces. Sure did.
What'd you find?
Nothing, just house.
Yeah, just house.
No gremlin. But yeah, I listened to a little bit of E.T. His name's Eric Thomas. He is travels around, does a lot of motivational speaking work, and just, I listened this morning was about like not going in reverse and just focusing on what's in front of you, Okay. He does a great job of explaining it. He talks about success and fearless and how to just be a successful person and have that hunger mentality and just, understanding that you got to be putting in some sweat equity, sacrifices to be successful. And, I listened to another one too. So a lot of his older stuff's about making money. You want to be successful. If that's what you want to do, here's what you need to do it. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of the recent stuff talks about how a lot of people, it's one thing to make money, but there's another thing to like worship it, and give so much power to the paper. When paper's printed every day, but time ends. A very powerful message. And I'm like, but you told me in here down the road, like being successful and like how to make this money. But then it's understanding like the difference of worshiping all these great things and the money you have and almost like, I don't know, basking in it, abusing it, or almost in a sense, or just like being obsessed with money and buying stuff and having things. That is, I think, is what he's trying to explain.
It makes sense that like money buys you freedom in a sense, right? Like what I don't have, where I have to think about money at this point in my life, right? But it'd be helpful for me to have a little bit of that mindset.
Yeah.
But then there's a balance of like, once you get to that level of it's giving you freedom, does it become your master?
Right.
Or is it just like another thing you use to have your time and your freedom?
Yeah. So it causes me, like when I heard that, it caused me to think more about it, because I'm like, E.T., you told me years ago to be successful, I got to wake up early. I got to sacrifice sleep. I got to put in the work to get what I want. I got to put in the work to reap the benefit, reap the reward. And being successful is, I guess, what defines success. I think for everybody, that's a little different. For some people, it may be money. For some people, it may be, just being happy. That's again, on an individual bias.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's like nice that you do what you like to do and it makes money in turn. That's like that's a recipe for success of all sorts, you know, if you can find that mix. And you do that a lot because you love editing, you love production, you love acting, you love all those things. And that's being you. Yeah, exactly. And so that's nice that you find that level of success in that. And yeah, the money becomes a whole other thing and stuff, but you actually enjoy growing things.
Yeah.
And so that is really what you want to do, is to grow things. So that kind of is like, it kind of goes hand in hand for you. Yeah.
If I could only grow what's between my legs,
you need help.
Be all right. But yeah, just hearing that message just caused me to think outside the box. And then I'm like, to not worship money, which I don't think I do. But just to make sure I never get to that point, like staying humble and just like being grateful and understanding where I was and where I'm at now. It's like, it's just understanding it and knowing that there's an issue there that I don't want to go down that way. I don't want to give paper power because time is something we can't get back. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
being conscious of it, though, is someone like you're already on the path, right? Being conscious of it and thinking about it is the first step. And it's really the main step. Once you start thinking about it, you can find out when to balance it because it'll enter into your mind when it's out of balance.
Exactly. So that's how I started off my morning. Yesterday was great weather. We've had a lot of rain the past 4 or 5 days, it seems like. And the weather's so bipolar, it don't know if it wants to be hot or cold. It's kind of in that weird stage right now. And
today is a high in the 80s.
Yeah, I can't
so
wait for
if you haven't noticed, I've got my Katie thinks that my legs are the sexiest part about me.
Why is that?
Just manly, athletic legs. She rubs on them.
Hey, at least the bottom half of you is athletic and manly.
Balance, like we say.
If we could just take a little bit off of those legs and put it up top on that facial hair, we'll be on to something.
Yeah.
I think there's some surgery about that.
God hates me.
Hey, doc, don't take it off my ass. Just take it off my legs.
And some of those muscles, can you put them in my arms?
You do have some major calves. Yeah. You always have, though.
I think it's because as a child, I walked around on my tippy toes a lot. Like a bird.
They say that's a bad thing.
Yeah, they say they do say that. They say that. I'm also pigeon-toed, very bird-like in the bottom half. And actually, Katie thinks I look like an eagle, so mostly bird on the top half too.
I could see it.
I could, soar high, I guess.
Hey, as long as you're soaring high above the eagles, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
I'm not,
because the eagle is the highest flying bird there is.
Yeah, I'm not soaring above them, buddy. I'm on ground level.
Science by Daniel.
Wait, what'd you say?
Eagles are the highest flying altitude bird there is.
I actually think you might be right this time.
I am correct.
But your history tells me you're wrong. So
again, can I get a check mark? That's why they say don't fly with the eagles, fly above them.
Who says that? I've never heard someone.
E.T. says that.
E.T.
Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas. And if you guys haven't listened to Eric Thomas, great guy. I highly recommend it. He is one that really just makes you want to do it,
And for me personally, I like listening to a guy named Robert Greene. He writes a lot of books. He writes a book on mastering like an art,
mastering the craft.
Yeah, like a craft. And he's also got a whole book about like the laws of power. Nice. And a lot of people will look at that and think it's really bad because like the perspective he talks about is like literally how you gain power and use it. But his idea is the more people who genuinely like don't go towards wanting to gain power, the more we understand how people get power, the more we can take more power in our lives. And yes, the bad actors can take that and use it, in a bad way of manipulation. But his idea is to raise this awareness of how power works, so that everyone can know how things work, instead of just the people who want to know how power works knowing how it works. So like a lot of things in there, it'll come off as like a bad idea, but it teaches you how to actually gain and manipulate things. And I think it's important for people to know how the world works, to know when people are trying to manipulate you, maybe. But he talks a lot about that. So Robert Greene, I suggest him as well.
Nice. So you got two people to search up other than Daniel and Jordan, Mm-hmm. But besides listening to that, Cadence started softball, first day opening game. It was great to get the family out. It was great to get outside, soak up some sun. Like, I needed that. I work a lot. I'm up at night, so I almost feel like I see more dark than day. So it was just so good to... And when I say that, I'm up during the day too, but I'm just like, I'm working. I got my head down and I'm busy. But it was so good to just get out, play with Leighton in the dirt, and throw the ball back and forth with Leighton and watch Cadence play. She got a hit.
How are you and Whitney in the stands? Are y'all yellers? What are y'all doing?
Well, I'm usually... So I take an approach like the first game, I'm like, cool, because we haven't been to the practice because Coach forgot to call us. And, this was the first time she met the team, so I didn't want to come off as that dad.
Yeah.
So I was like playing it cool, and I'm like, oh yeah, they knew I was vocal, so I always cheer for everybody. I'm like, hey, good hustle, even if they swing, good swing, whatever. But But yeah, I'm that dad. Cadence, get your shit together. You know, maybe not to that extent, but this time Whitney was that mom.
I see. That's what I was concerned.
She's usually not. Now Whitney is very vocal and loud and cheery, but she was like, Cadence swung at the first one and just half-ass swung, you know. And I told her right before, I was like, Cadence, if you're going to swing all the way through. Whitney goes, Cadence, if you're going to swing, you better swing all the way through. Sure enough, I guess Cadence heard it and was like, "Oh, okay," and swung, and she hit the ball the second time, or
nice.
on the second pitch. So she got to first. It was close. She lobbed it, and she outran the throw, which was great. And then they overthrew, so she went to second.
Oh, nice.
So she got a double off of a little blooper, you know,
air.
And so yeah, it was good to just enjoy the day, and I'm gonna do that today as well. It's beautiful outside. I got a little things to work to do, but I'm sitting aside a time to ride my motorcycle today.
Hell
like
yeah.
10 minutes.
Nice, yeah.
You know, just go and drive and enjoy the wind.
Yeah, today's a perfect day for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I've never ridden a motorcycle, but would you ever let me get on that thing?
Yeah, I don't care. You can.
I'm too scared.
It's a one-seater, but we can figure it out.
I've been two-seaters on mopeds before in my life, so I don't have any problem with that, buddy.
You look like a moped driver.
like Dumb and Dumber.
I mean, you don't look like them, but you just look like a guy who would own a moped.
Oh, yeah. My motorcycle's too fast for me. Moped's perfect speed for me.
Yeah, they piss me off. Getting behind. Do you remember we were going to track something, or remember that guy who did drum lessons, and we went over to their house to record something? It was over by Karaoke. You knew a guy over there.
Wendell, probably, my dad's friend. Yeah.
Were you taking drum lessons?
Yeah.
We went over there to do something, and there was a guy on a moped. It was in the wintertime.
Can't believe you remember this.
Yeah, listen to this, y'all.
Wintertime?
Wintertime. He was tailing me like close, and I brake checked his ass, and it was snowing, and he slid on his, he hit his brake and completely lost it.
Did he wreck?
Oh, yeah, he did. In front of Wendy's, and then he got up, and then he walked his little moped over to in Wendy's. But he learned his lesson.
Oh, I put that in the back of my mind somewhere and buried that crime deep in my core.
If anybody was at fault, it was the moped driver.
That's one way to look at it, sure.
But yeah, that was my week. A lot going on with the studio. We're thinking about rebranding the Awesome Lawsons podcast.
Awesome.
So I'm just looking forward to the new brand of After School with the Lawsons, as well as here with the Daniel and Jordan show, and just to feel that vibe. We need a vibe. We've been missing a vibe. We've had a great space.
Yeah.
You know, better than your average podcast.
It can be better.
I'm next level. I'm not content with average.
Amen, brother.
You know, I want
like.
to see my full potential. I want to see our full potential. And I'm not okay with average. I want the best. I want to look the best. I want to be the best. And that's why I say thank you for tuning in to the greatest show on the internet.
And I'm the humble one. And so, yeah, average is not so bad. I'm pretty cool with average. Balance, right?
I'm humble too. Yeah, I'm humble too.
No. Yeah, no, that's what I love having you around, because, you know, having someone who pushes you is what my fiance is. It's what you are, my other fiance.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice. I need people to push me. So it's nice to have someone pushing in that direction for me.
And it's good to have someone to say, hey, think a little different, slow down a little bit, you know, to just have it in my conscience, like you said about, you know, listening to those messages, you know, because I don't want to work myself to death and miss out on time. So it's good to have a balance of the hunger and the humble.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's in your core to be productive and knock things out. So ultimately, it's never going to leave you, and I would never want to change that about you.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing that you have, and I'm jealous of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, there's. I want you to be happy, and you know, I think that there's other things that, you know, us playing guitar in a room together wasn't necessarily productive, but I love that.
I love
that
it.
we did that.
I do want to do that before you leave today. I pulled them out already.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so what about your week, dude?
I went through a whole mental thing. I'll get a little bit into it, I guess. So like with this, we've been really stressed, right? I was trying to help you out with editing your podcasts, your other podcasts and all that. And I found myself in this thing of like a lot of work to do and this trying to push through feeling. And the thing is like when I do shorts and I do our episode, I want to be in that mindset of just like, I'm being creative. I'm making something that's funny and fun. And I'm thinking about all the little details that goes into it to make it fun and all that. And it's like when all that work is piled up, and this is a bad side of me also, but I also think it's a good thing. But I find myself wanting to just push through the work, right? Like let's grind, get it out of the way and get done with it so I can relax and get my mind in like a better state. And you've been stressed. You've been up a lot working you've been editing a lot late this week. And I know that you can function on that. But you know, I don't feel like that is like manageable long term or anything like that. Yeah. And so I felt like the idea had felt like it fell into this realm of like, we want to do what we love, which is this, and we want to make a living doing that because that's what the dream is, right? Yeah, doing what you love and making a living at it. And I feel like we're losing a bit of the love for it, for the fact that we want to make a living. And that's threw me down a whole rabbit hole of what it means to be an entertainer, right?
Jordan loves rabbits, as you could tell by the last episode.
Know nothing about them, but I'll go down a rabbit hole, trust me. And so I started thinking about just like, what is it to be an entertainer, to be a YouTuber, to be in the business of show business, right? And ultimately, I'm a big Bo Burnham fan. If you don't know who Bo Burnham is, I suggest watching his latest special called Inside. It's on Netflix. It came out during COVID. To me, he's a genius. He's the exact same age as me, so I share a lot of things in common with him. To me, I kind of came to the conclusion. I was like, dang, Bo Burnham's already said everything that I think, and he's like he's a step ahead of me. So it's like,
you should have fucking spoke up.
And so I watched a lot of his stuff, and he always painted this picture of like what an artist is like the kid at a birthday party who's running around screaming, and that is a person who that's how they learn to get attention. And then we grow up as entertainers, and we're rewarded by the audience who loves having someone to entertain them, and that entertainer has an inner child looking for that attention, and they're being fed it through the audience, and they never have to mature from that child that they were. And I kind of felt like I kind of an ingredient, and I could see my own life, the inner child that I have, that like, I think I want to be big influential because my father I admired so much, who did that himself. And I haven't completely separated myself as a person from that. I've always admired that, and that's not a bad thing, but that is an inner child of me, of being the youngest as well. Yeah. I had older brothers that had more responsibilities than me. What I brought to the table was the morality, or the moral, or the what am I trying to
pizzazz,
the morale guy, right? I'm the guy who lightens the mood.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's really clear. The more I look at my life, how I have acted, is that's what I bring to the table, is a morale booster. Yeah.
Which is a wonderful thing to have. I mean, you know,
in this time and age, it feels like the morale part is very important. Now, here's the other thing that separates it, though. An entertainer was meant back in the day, to be a distraction from all the awful things that people had to deal with in their lives. Mm-hmm. And that was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then now we're in the age of distraction because we are obsessed with entertainment. Mm-hmm. And at times I sit back and I think, or in times, I mean this past week, and say, is now the time for distraction? And it worries me for my own benefit, to keep pushing my own entertainment for my own gain, right? And that's just not where I want to be. I think, and that's when I realized, like, art for profit is just not art anymore. It can't be art. It has to be, art is something I give to you and ask for nothing in return. Now that being said, I think the only difference that needs to happen is like, I need to put my art above the making the money part, making a living. I think that in some turn that can give back to me, just from the universe giving back to me. But I can't allow like me becoming stressed and all this, where I can't think of the content. I can't think of the fun. I can't make the content the best for you all. If I'm in this mind space of like, I got to feed the algorithm our content. and it's like a catch-22 for me. It's the paradox of being an artist in the day and age we are in. But at the end of the day, I love doing this, and I want to make it the best you can. So our focus is on making this fun, making it loving, making it a community that you can be part of. We're not asking anything of you beyond, I'd like to hear your voice eventually on
We got
comments.
a number. All you got to do is call.
That's right. We have a phone number. We have comment section. We'd love to hear from you all so we can talk to you all. We want to talk to other people. We want to build a community of people who are trying to just get through life and figure it out. And I want y'all to figure it out with me. Yeah. And so it's just kind of that. Okay. And then last night I got to go to Tid Balls, and my buddy Jay did a DJ set, and all I did was his volume to his vocals, but I just sat there with my thumb on that volume knob, and I had an absolute blast, just like making sure it sounded perfect.
That's cool.
It was an amazing feeling. Yeah. I like to lock in and make sure something sounded good for everyone in the audience. And I was around people, and I got to talk to people in person for the first time in a while. Man, I miss that.
Yeah, and just like you said, even having your finger on a volume button, like you're in your realm of doing what you love, whether that's playing music, whether that's editing podcasts. I mean, it's all in a realm. So, I mean, if of course you're going to enjoy that volume knob. You know what I mean? It just makes sense.
Yeah. I love playing with knobs.
I can concur.
But that was a great experience last night to do that, even though it was a small little job, but like just trying to make sure the art sounded the best it could. I was like, this is what I love. I love making the art being the best it can and not asking for anything in return from the art, just being able to love it.
So with that being said, me and Jordan talked this morning for a little bit, and what we're going to do, since we're in the middle of the season of 1.5 of the Daniel and Jordan podcast, this is the final episode of the season. No April Fools. This is the final episode of season 1, Daniel and Jordan podcast, and we're going to take a little break, maybe a week or two, whenever we are ready, and start off full force in the studio. And it's not because the studio is being held up. It's because we want to give you the best experience possible. We want to be healthy minded during it, because if we're not healthy up here, we can't be healthy on here.
And you're not going to enjoy it that much if we aren't like in loving what we're creating.
Yeah. So we're going to take a little break, just like The Walking Dead does, just like Full House does, just like all these TV shows, because we are now the Daniel and Jordan Show.
Ding, 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 ding.
So we have to have seasons. Yeah. That's really why we called it that. Yeah. So we could take a fucking break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but there is something beautiful about having a light at the end of the tunnel. We can focus on 10 to 12 episodes, however many we decide in a season. Yeah. And then you can be excited because we're going to try new ideas. We're going to make new segments. We're going to do new skits. And we have time to think those out and actually put energy into the creative process of it, instead of spending our time just keeping up. Yeah. And it won't be huge breaks. They're just gonna be small breaks to give us time to
creative thinking,
live life a little bit, get a little content in our heads about what goes on in life, and to be able to come back and give you all something awesome and fun.
Yeah. But I will say what will not change is the word of the week, because that's kind of our bread and butter. That's what we benefit from. That's what I feel like a lot of our listeners benefit from. Of course, all the comedy and the jokes and the
dick jokes are staying.
Yeah, those are staying, of course. I mean, that's who we always have been.
Dick and balls. Yeah. I'm Dick, he's balls.
Glad I'm the bigger part on some people.
You bring the testosterone at least.
But yeah, so those things are never going anywhere. And with that being said, I think you have a little story about today's word of the week.
Yeah. So, okay. I've had this story. The most insane thing happened to me at this point, like over a month ago, I think. And I was like, this story is one of the most insane things. I got to save it for a big podcast.
Hold on 1 second. I forgot something. Let me introduce my greatest friend, the one with the brains and not the bronze. Not the balls, but the penis, Mr. Jordan Hunter.
I'm all shaft.
Continue.
All right, so I am negligent of my chores, right? Dan, you know this about me, right?
Clearly.
Okay, so Kanie asked me to flip this trash can out by our house because it was going to fill with rainwater before the winter came. And I obviously forgot. So time passed.
Full of water?
It filled up with rainwater. So Caney was like, look, we need to go out there and look. It looks like there's something in there. So I went out there and I looked, and I was like, we were about to walk the dogs, and I looked and I was like, it's just a feather. So we walked the dogs, and we went and we came back and forgot about it. And so another week passes, and Caney's like, why don't you go out there and start dumping some of that water out so we don't flood the area, right? And I was like, okay. So I finally went out there.
Wait, how big was this trash can?
I mean, it's like
one by my road,
like one that you would have like in a store, but like when you would
like an extra one,
like when you have it like in the back of Wendy's, right? Where you like a big one though, right? Like the big ones.
Round ones,
big round ones, gray, right? Industrial looking. And so I went out there and I dumped in a little bit of water out, and I was like, that's not a feather, that is a rubber football. And so I dumped a little bit more water out, and I was like, that's not a rubber football, that's a rubber squirrel. And I dumped a bit more at it. That wasn't a rubber squirrel. It was a dead squirrel that had drowned in this water.
Oh, you've cracked the code to squirrel hunting.
It's a different take than I had at the time.
That's terrible.
I go inside and I tell Caney.
Squirrels can't swim. Clearly,
he drowned.
That one just couldn't swim.
I haven't gone back and looked for the claw marks.
Oh man, that's a sad story.
So I went inside, I told Caney, and we were just like sad, deep sadness. And she was like,
squirrel soup.
It wasn't the white squirrel, was it? And so there's this white squirrel that our landlord told us about. It's the neighborhood, the white squirrel. Caney's mom would come into town. She'd look at it out the window. My grandfather has asked for a picture of it. And I was like, I don't think it was. And so we went out, and it was that fucking white squirrel. The star of the neighborhood has drowned from my negligence of not flipping that trash can.
You O.J. Simpson that squirrel.
I killed him.
Oh, was it too soon?
So I went and I dumped the body out back.
That's what he did.
And so I put it up, and right where it's all sad. And anyways, I had to go back to editing our stuff.
Oh my God.
So I went back to the computer and I'm editing it, and I get a text from Caney, and I open it up, and it is a picture of that white squirrel just sitting there with the nut hanging out. I think he had a nut. Maybe he didn't. He was just hanging out 5 feet from where his eventual drowning happened. The exact 5 feet from where that trash can ended up.
I wonder how.
And she said, 6 months ago, before you drowned him.
She sent that to you?
She sent that to me.
That's shitty. Too soon, Caney. How dare you? He is a sensitive man. You can't just send a squirrel that he just killed with a beautiful nut in his mouth to his cell phone.
And then, so later at night, we lay down, and Caney pulls out her phone and she does voice search. And she's like, Siri, how long do squirrels live to be? Do you know?
Unfortunately,
my guess,
Daniel Science doesn't know this one.
My guess was, well, I guess it was my hope. I was like 6 to 8 years, right? It's a rodent of sorts. They live to be like 18 years old, like an adult human. They've gone through all of school.
So a squirrel year's kind of like dog years, because 18 years of a dog is like a old man.
They were counting in our normal years, I think.
Oh. I didn't know if there was a little difference.
Maybe.
What is 18 in squirrel years? I will find out while he continues.
Pretty sure 18 is just 18 years in a normal human's life. It's what they were saying. And then she was like, how rare is a white squirrel? Now, to be fair, we live in an area where white squirrels are more common. A white squirrel, though, it's 1 in 100,000 that a white squirrel I have drowned is. 1 in 100,000? Are you trying to think of what is percentage better for you?
No, that's a really low percent.
Yes, exactly. So then I go to work the next day, and I receive another text from Caney, and she's cropped out this picture of the squirrel, and it says, never forget. She's put an American flag back behind it.
She's went above and beyond.
She said she wanted to put the Twin Towers in the background and put never forget. And then she said the next day she walked outside to get in her car, and she looked. I had set the trash can back face up again.
Oh.
After I dumped the body, I left the trash can just how I
You
did.
set the fucking trap.
I did. I set it back, yeah.
Oh,
So, I buried him.
Life's
I
about
named him.
lessons, Jordan. We have to learn our lessons.
You know what's funny is I was talking to my buddy that night on my computer, and he was like, well, you just now anytime Kenny asks you to do something, you think of that poor squirrel that you killed, and then that gets you to do it. And hilariously enough, I set that trash can back up the way it was.
That is
already forgotten, completely negligent.
hysterical.
So I have negligently killed the famous white squirrel in our neighborhood. And I buried the body. It was dug up a day later.
What'd you name him? Oh, by what? His
Who knows?
cousins? To say, how
say-
dare him bury him in this killing field?
I'm hoping it's the time of year where they're like hibernating or something, or they're sleeping underground, because I haven't seen squirrels in a long time.
Yeah.
I think I sent the message. I sent the body out.
They're like, hey, don't go in his yard. Remember what happened to Bruce?
I named him Rodney.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Rodney the white squirrel.
Yeah. So
Who probably died a terrible death. Can you imagine let's just take a human, for example, and just jump in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean, and just keep afloat.
what was he trying to do, you think? What did he think? I'm thinking he's jumping from the top. What if he just fell from a limb all the way down in and clunk?
Well, okay, so when did we notice this trash can?
Oh, I never noticed.
Was it in the fall?
You know me. I don't remember. And she had maybe late fall. She was like, flip that
Oh
trash
no,
can.
you know what he was doing? I already know what he was
thirsty?
doing. No, he was preparing for hibernation. So in the wintertime, squirrels hibernate. Okay.
Okay.
He was gathering food before hibernation. And since it's fall, all the acorns and nuts drop. Something could have dropped,
Into it.
hit him, knocked his little squirrel brain sideways, and he plummeted to his death.
So it was Mother Nature's fault.
Clearly.
I mean, I had laid down that night and I could just picture him thrashing in that water.
He was honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, he was probably knocked out. Ease Caney's mind, the squirrel was knocked out. It's almost like being unconscious while you're on a ventilator and someone pulls the plug. He didn't feel a thing.
No. I don't think that there was any plug being pulled. I think it was the most horrific death you could face, and it was because of my negligence.
If there is scratch marks, have you looked?
No, I can't. I can't bring myself to. Which brings me to the word of the week this week is mortality. We're going to die. You and I are going to die.
Eventually.
Yeah,
Anytime.
anytime, really, right? I mean, back in the day, how old did people live to be? We're kind of lucky to be 33 right now.
I don't know. Back in the day, I feel like people live to be older.
You think older than we are now? Shoot, my grandfather's 93. I don't think people were ever 93, really, right? Maybe wealthy people.
I'm thinking back in the day as in your grandpa or my grandpa.
I'm thinking of medieval times where people were getting their heads chopped off in their 20s.
Yeah. No, they were going to war at 13.
Yeah.
You know?
So as awful as things seem
If
now.
you can hold a rifle, you're going to war.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've been just a little bit more about my mortality, and someday something's going to happen and I'm just going to drown out somewhere. Maybe a shark will eat me. I hope.
Maybe what happened to Rodney
What do I deserve is
can
what I
happen
think.
to you.
Oh, God.
Eye for an eye. Or a nut for a nut. This just in. Check this out, Jordan. According to Twitter post by Ken Penders, if that's even how you pronounce his name, could be Peters, I don't know. A squirrel is 32 years old in squirrel years if it is 16 in human years. So there is a little difference. So he was old. It was his time to go.
So it's like every year, human year is 2 years to them, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could have killed him in his 20s. Killed him. At least he's probably younger than I am now.
Yeah.
And I went through a whole thing like, should I report this to somebody?
The what are those green people called? The game warden. Hey, I killed the albino squirrel. Get on the fucking ground. They arrest you.
I'm not telling the neighbors. I'm not telling anyone in my neighborhood that I did it.
You just told the world. So.
Yeah, I know.
So immortality. Awesome.
Yeah, immortality. Rodney lives on forever in my heart.
We love you, Rodney.
Sorry, buddy.
Let's see here. Real quick before we go, I just want to tell you something that just pisses me off. The thing that just makes me want to peel up my toenails and eat them.
Good Lord.
Or in other words, we like to say, what
Twists our nips. Ow! What twists your nips, Daniel?
So it was opening day at the softball field, right? Mm-hmm. This happened to me yesterday twice in a matter of literally 2 minutes. It was a little toasty outside. The sun was shining. And guess what? Assholes spit their gum out on the concrete.
Yeah. That's disrespectful.
I hate that. There's nothing that pisses me off more than stepping in some bubble gum and then noticing, oh, there's something on my foot. And then you do this, and then it strings out, and it just follows you. And not only did I do it once, I did it twice. And I cussed.
You stepping gum twice?
Twice in a matter of 2 minutes. In a different pile of gum. I was like, can anybody else spit out some fucking gum, is what I said. Like, that is one thing that I cannot stand, is stepping in gum. Spit it in the grass.
Is it biodegradable? Like, what happens with gum? Do animals try to eat it?
So they say you're not supposed to spit it out because if an animal eats it, Daniel science here. I got all these fun facts.
It can't shit it out.
Yeah. It kind of sets in their stomach. Kind of like us, you know?
Yeah. You're not supposed to swallow it for us, right?
Yeah.
That is disrespectful. I guess it's a ballpark thing. Everyone's chewing gum, probably.
Yeah.
If not tobacco.
Yeah. I don't think the little 11-year-old girls are out there with chew in their mouth. If they are, we got a problem. Speaking of chew, my dad used to call it worm dirt.
Worm dirt.
Yeah, you know, when you
looks like it, I guess.
When you buy a box of worms or a little jar of worms to go fishing, they're in that dirt.
Yeah.
Dad used to call it worm dirt, and I can't get over it. And
have you ever dipped?
I've tried it one time and about died.
That's the story I hear from everyone. I've never tried.
It's terrible. Yeah. And it was like grizzly. It was like long cut, or it was Copenhagen. It was the harsh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the strongest of strong. And my stepbrother was like, "Hey, Daniel, you want to try it?" He went in that country. I just feel like you have to talk that country when you have dip in. But he's like, "Hey, Daniel, try this dip." And I was like, "Okay, y'all are doing it." They're all ball players.
Yeah.
I'm a hockey kid, you know.
It's like going straight to IPAs instead of a light beer.
Yeah, you don't do
You're not going to enjoy it.
And I put it in, and literally in a matter of seconds, I'm sitting there with my hands on I'm nauseated. I'm over the bed, and I'm like, the room is spinning at this point. And then Ryan goes, get up and walk to the TV. And it was probably, from here to the kitchen table. It was the room was more rectangle than it was square.
Yeah.
And I get up, I walk to the TV. I get literally halfway there. I turn around, I run back, threw it all up. I was so dizzy. I was sick.
Yeah.
Never touched it
again. That's good.
Yeah.
Can you believe people push through that and they're like, well, I'll try it again.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that one time. Man. There was that one time I got sick as fuck, but what's one more time? I can't do it. I used to know a girl who dipped, and I thought she was so badass.
Yeah.
She went to Warren East.
That's that makes more sense as well. That's a rough gal.
Yeah.
Dipping.
If you're a chick and you dip, kudos to you, because at this moment, you got more balls than me.
Mm-hmm. If you dip, I bet you suck dick.
I bet you don't. I bet you got one.
Yeah, actually, it's the other way.
She probably's got a dick.
You probably suck her dick.
Yeah. But yeah, that is this week's thing that just twists my nips. I can't stand the gum on the ground. So if you're a gum chewer, chew your gum. But that moment when I stepped to that second pile, I told Whitney, I'm about to go around here and tell everybody to spit out their gum in my hand. Like, I wanted to be like, you spit it out now. You're not supposed to have gum here. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I was at that point though, and I cussed loud on accident, but it was twice in a matter of 2 minutes.
No, you deserve that.
Like, I almost step in it, and then I moved, and when I moved, I stepped in another one. Oh, it just made me mad.
That is disrespectful of those people. Yeah. So noted, don't spit your gum out. Don't litter.
That's like taking your underwear off after you've shit your pants in Walmart and putting it behind the commode, which has also happened to me, It's just something you don't do.
You discovered shit behind it?
Yeah. I was like, God, it stinks in here.
I actually, you know what? As a janitor at a department store, you'd be shocked how many women are taking their panties off or they shit in them and putting them in the trash can.
Yeah.
It's a ton of panties.
And
with
that's
shit in it.
okay. That's all right. It's all right to shit your pants. I've shit mine before, okay? It's not okay to take them off and shove them in behind the toilet when there's a trash can in the bathroom. That's when you cross that line.
Yeah. I guess it's okay to shit your pants. I get it, right? I guess people are shitting pants. Girls are shitting their pants way more than I thought. I'll tell you that.
That's disgusting. Makes me want to rethink my marriage.
Yeah, they paint themselves up to be all prissy and men are disgusting. I'm telling you right now, I haven't seen any shit in underwear in the men's section, and it's constant shit in I'm guessing it's just older ladies, and that's fine. I understand it happens.
Are they big panties, little panties? Are they skimpy panties?
They're
Are they
never
lacy?
sexy. They're never sexy panties with shit in them. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so bothersome.
So, yeah. And you're at Dillard's, so...
The crowd's old.
Yeah. They're old panties. Which is expected.
Yeah. Hey, I had a question the other day. I was thinking about this. We talked about ball smell last week, and I'm sorry to bring this back up. But I was talking to Kaney about it. Do you think you prefer ball smell or vagina smell?
You asking them or me?
You. I know my answer.
I know your answer too, which is strange.
What do you think my answer is?
Balls.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's balls. Of course, it's balls. Balls feel more homely.
Well, balls are the same no matter what. That's the thing.
Truth. Well, is that true?
Balls,
maybe I haven't smelled everyone's balls.
You're not smelling mine. I love you. I'll let you know what. They probably all smell the same. Now, the further you get back...
Oh, yeah.
Like
There's more
to the gooch
dirt,
zone.
More dirt
Yeah.
there.
But
you powder
generally
yours,
balls. Not anymore. I've lost a lot of weight.
Oh, you don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
No more
chafing.
chub rub.
Less chafing. That makes sense.
So the further you get back, the worse it gets. But I feel like all balls smell the same. Why are we having this conversation?
It's not ball smell anymore. It's ass smell.
Yeah. Which probably they're all the same.
All right,
But at the end of the day, balls smell the same. Sweaty balls are sweaty balls. Vagina.
Daniel science. He's done the research. Trust us.
Google.
He didn't Google it. That's personal experience.
Vagina, on the other hand, it can smell really good. It can not smell at all, or it can smell really bad.
Really? Yeah. Sure.
So,
they smell different. There's definitely different brands, as we've said.
You got your high octane, and you got your you got your premium. You got your unleaded.
Best case scenario, it's odorless.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm giving women just an awful insecurity probably right now. But I'm sorry, our balls smell too.
Well, from my understanding, women are not like men. Men are, we're weird creatures. Women don't smell their own stuff, I don't think.
I bet they do, but it's not the same, it's not enjoyment like it is for a man.
Yeah, it's
more of a need to know what's going on.
Hey, what's going on down there before I go to Tommy's house?
Yeah, Tommy.
Make sure I'm good.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm,
Me? I don't take any care before I go anywhere.
Yeah. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. Well, that sums up today's episode, guys. In the comments, let us know what you prefer.
Yeah. Hey, Mom,
B or
what
P?
what do you prefer, Mom? You just let me know.
Yeah, what Wayne smell like? Cross the line, sorry,
What
guys.
does ashes smell like?
We will, maybe I could use that as chafing powder. Sorry, Wayne, I love you. But yeah, until next time, season 2, we'll start off with a bang, guys. We're not going anywhere. We're just taking a little break. Maybe for you to experience a different show. Maybe check out some of the people we mentioned today, which was who? Who was the guy? Mine was Eric.
Robert Green, and yours was
Eric.
E.T.
Eric Thomas. So experience one of those for a week or two, and maybe you'll find another show that you like.
Go live life. We're gonna go live life, and we'll come back and we'll discuss it.
Jordan will be living life.
I'll be living life.
He'll be letting me know how it is.
Yeah, I'll have more video game stories, I think.
But we appreciate you. We love you. And just remember, whether we are the Daniel and Jordan podcast or the Daniel and Jordan show, just remember, I'm Daniel.
I'm Jordan.
And we're Daniel and Jordan. We'll see you next time.
Latro.
See you next week.